Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Start with pledge of allegiance.
The States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Roll call.
Mochler.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Susie. Can't hear you, Dave. Gilbertson.
Here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we gotcha.
Okay, I'm here.
Any conflict of interest declarations? Hearing none, approval of agenda. Move to approve. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approval of minutes.
I moved to approve with one very minor amendment. I caught in the section of the discussion of the chat. I believe it said in there, pheasants and deer, it's turkey and deer.
Turkey and deer.
Yep.
Okay.
Second with the amendment.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion passes. Are there any visitors to be heard that don't appear on the agenda? Hearing none, is Seth here?
I'm undercover today.
Do you want to come up or however you want to do this?
Yeah. So, Seth Clance from Peterson Stewart Clance. I think I know most of you. Kind of a recap of where we are. I had submitted the proposed number from last year. It was at 175. We submitted 180,000, which was just under 3% increase. Everything in the contract stays the same. So,
You got, if you want to just sit down.
oh, sure.
Yeah, the mics have like kind of a cone that they pick up and otherwise nobody.
All right, on that. Dave, you got me? Right, there's
I'm gonna say yes.
They're always on, so you're ready.
Okay, so we were at 175,000 last year for the representation on all felony matters, with some exceptions, the upper level, but essentially all felony matters, juvenile representation as well as A&M files. And so that all stays identical to what it was last year going into the next year. And as I said, it was at about 5,000 increase, which was just under 3%. And so I prepared that contract and that would be our proposal going into the next year. Any questions?
Have you looked at the contract?
I have, yeah, I think a couple of last years.
Yep.
Well, the only discussion I would have is that we're grateful that you're willing to provide the services you do, all the reports we have, because you do an excellent job, and these costs can be much higher if you do more than you're going to do a contract. So appreciate you.
We don't have all the
reports.
We don't have all the reports.
No. All of the reports I have received.
Perfect.
If I didn't speak clearly.
I can't brag enough to you.
Yeah, no. And so I would move to authorize the chair to sign the contract.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks. You can just hang it to me. Do we want that or? We want her into it today or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes into effect, in there it says the term is January.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we'll speak up that way.
USB extension. Lori,
Morning. Morning. I've got a report for the Plain Union County 4-H program. You notice in the notes that Carrie put in your packets that I noted, activities for both counties because I am in both counties, so gives you a much more realistic, understanding about what we've been up to in both counties. And you will notice in some of the, I won't go through all of this, I tried to write it so that it's pretty self-explanatory. But to start with, the designated vehicle for the county will be turned in this month. Hillary Krupa comes back from maternity leave on the 20th, so if there's anything left to do with that regarding signatures or anything, she should be able to handle that. I did her some paperwork yesterday, so that'll be taken care of. As far as the new laptop, I've got an invoice that I provided Carrie, I believe it's in your packets. Union County did agree to allow you to purchase half of the laptop, half of the purchase cost of the laptop. And I believe, let's see, just half the cost of the laptop, and then installation for that, and then they didn't include the monitor because we'll have monitors up here. But anyway, they were glad to do that, and hopefully the invoice will serve its purpose and get that taken care of. Any further upgrades or anything that would involve costs is keeping it up to date, any repairs or whatever, they just asked that we split half, so. Hopefully we won't have a lot of that to deal with, because that means I'd be down.
do they have an IT department, or how do we, or will we be using
well,
Erickson's for this?
Erickson Solutions is who Clay County uses, and then in Union County, it's kind of a mix between SDSU, Chuck, I can't think of his last name, I apologize. He's kind of out and about and serves the counties, so it's kind of a mix of things depending on what we need. So up here with Clay, it's Erickson Solutions too.
Right, but on that laptop, who will be doing the IT
It might depend on what county I'm in when,
when you break down?
yeah, I guess so. I'll have to find out, see if I can.
I don't care, I mean, just so we have.
Does it have a board of regents login or?
It's owned by the counties,
Okay.
but I still have to use the IT. Where, I mean, and I can, that can be flexible if it's easier up here. I'll have to talk to Erickson Solution Group and Chuck and see what they say. Not real sure on that.
Travis makes a good point, because I think one of the advantages of Erickson is that they look at our county systems as a whole,
Right.
and I think that particularly thinking from a security standpoint, that's the way they're conceiving the thing. So if you're logging into county email or something like that.
Actually, my email's all typed to
Okay,
SDS.
those are the sorts of things I think, yeah,
So it's
I'd be
little-
curious about.
It's kind of challenging when I run into stuff like that. But it's the right
That makes
thing.
me think it's probably a board of regents. Yeah.
Well, I just don't want Erickson's undoing something that Chuck did, and, you know, going, why are they doing this? Did you just stick with one?
Yeah.
It would be simpler.
I'll check into that, because it would be simple for me too.
Yeah.
Then we had, Dr. Tim Tanner resigned, just following the state fair. And then he's got a replacement. His interim 4-H program leader is Dr. Rosie Noel. I met her last week at the South Dakota Extension meeting in Brookings, and she's been asked to serve in that position for 1 year. It's like, doesn't mean they'll take that long to hire for her, but hire his position, but that's what it was told. So she's got her hands full. And then Dr. Sandy Smart, he's the interim extension director, kind of splitting responsibilities. You read on page 2 of my report what those would be. We moved to page 3. What I did was I listed some of the summer activities we've done, and then moving into fall. As far as since the last time I've seen you, I think we've been through Union County Fair, Clay County Fair, and the State Fair. Big learning experience, but was very successful on all fronts. Clay County and the Fair Board, we had a joint meeting to talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and probably the big change for everybody is that Clay County will be adding one day to the county fair. Next year, it was decided because the 4-Hers get spread too thin with trying to do too many shows on the same day when they're involved in multiple shows. It's a big lift for the Fair Board. It's also a big lift for administrative. So that will be a change in 2026. But anyway, other than that, if you want to read through some of the activities we've done, you will notice there's different, like Lincoln County on July 9th. If we don't have a large number of participants for a county, there's a lot of we call open events, or if the 4-H'er has a conflict with a date we've set, and in this case, Lincoln County, it's a special foods contest, they are welcome to go to that one. They still get credit in Clay County the fair. So you will see some of that. And let's see, so National 4-H Week is this week. The Clay County 4-Hers decorated along High Street, and they had window decorating on Sunday night, so that was kind of fun. And then some of the counties are doing clubs are doing various things throughout the week. And then 4 schools in Clay and 4 schools in Union have all been contacted with pushers and emailed to let them know that it's happening, and they're trying to promote 4-H to the schools. A lot of them don't want hard copy anymore, so we did some PDFs, and I drove to 4 different schools to get them brochures, and very receptive. So that was nice to know. Down under published news stories, there's some comments here about, what we've had. I have talked with the state office because it's very hard to track all the publicity that we're getting. It can be extremely expensive to purchase that, so I have a Google alert set up on my Gmail, but we're trying to figure out a better way to streamline that, so I know what's happening. One example where the horse show that we had last July was Clay Union Yankton, and it got published a couple times, and then as I was going through Google, it was actually published on 2 pretty awesome websites that I wasn't even familiar with. They can pick it up and do that too. But it's just hard to track it, so I need to track that, and it's also something I report back to my staff at the state level. And then if you turn to page 5, we are having a Clay County Fair Board and 4-H fundraiser on November 22nd to raise funds for a kitchen remodel and some of the facilities that were here. There's been a lot of pre-work done since 2020. I'm kind of tapping into it new, but hopefully that will be a successful event. And then Union County has their Boys Night November 2nd. Clay County has theirs on the 16th. And then I've got 4-Hers by the numbers. We're also with National 4-H Week on October 1st of each year. We kick off recruitment, and hopefully I've got 4 new ones in the way that I need to get some things to. We've had a couple other calls in the Clay County for interest in joining, so don't know how many 4-Hers that would mean, but people are aware that we are recruiting for numbers, and we do that throughout the year. But and then in Union County, I have 2 prospective new members already, so got to follow up on some of that. This doesn't cover everything, but it gives you a pretty good idea what we've been up to. We do have our calendar worked out. I've got things on the calendar now between now and July 2026. Just didn't provide it today because it changes almost daily. But as far as I can tell, things are going well. I've got supportive staff, I've got supportive volunteers, and
Yeah, I was really impressed with the volunteer numbers.
Yeah,
It's always
right.
wonderful.
and it's not an easy thing. They have to go through bona fide training before, you can't just allow them to volunteer, you have to go through online training. You have to go through an interview, so I've seen that too, that's pretty, yeah. So, but, yeah,
Hit the ground running. We're coming off of a pretty tumultuous period, and we had a lot of turnovers.
planning and your county have done well with the different papers, so.
Nothing else? We appreciate it, thank you.
You bet, thank you for your support.
Oh, the docking station.
Does that require a motion?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Um,
Sorry.
Yeah. that's right. The docking
So
station.
is it, did I read it right, is it $240?
$240 and then
240, and that's the docking station, the wireless.
No. But what, do we know what the half of the computer is? 1144 is the computer, right? Or
Half of the, for the computer was $923 for the computer, for laptop.
Thank you. There you go. It's page 27 of our packet. An overthink book. And so
that was half,
that's half.
plus 240. So 1163 total. Should we just make the motion. That 240 and 9.
No, it's 1144 plus 240, right? 1144.
I thought the 923 was the half.
923, the invoices for the laptop is, and that included, as part of the installation was $923.56. And the additional, docking station and the keyboard was $240. Those would be.
So let's see, it was, so there's a quote dated July 7th. Is that an alternative? Was that the other?
When they're more, so the one that was the monitor. Stuff you didn't need.
Yeah, there were some things I didn't. The
Gotcha.
quote was too big, extra gave me. I just wanted, for the docking station, the keyboard was off.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
So 1163 is right. That's that good. So I'll entertain a motion to pay that amount. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, there weren't any vouchers this time. right?
No,
Title 6.
You can.
We got 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
So Title VI, I had a discussion with this board a few weeks back on the need for a Title VI policy and some procedures to go along with it. Title VI is a federal law that just essentially requires that when money is coming through the federal government, you comply with Federal VI or Title VI, which is very similar in nature to Title VII, essentially anti-discrimination requirements. We are receiving federal funds through the state for this upcoming work on bridges for damage that occurred in the summer of 2024. Generally, we are able to avoid having to put in all this work to become Title VI compliant because the money goes to the state in a different way. And the state takes on that liability, but we have been tasked with taking up this liability. So to do so, what I would need from you, or ultimately what the county needs in order to move forward with these projects to get this funding is, this board needs to designate a Title VI coordinator via motion. We've had discussions. I think Harry Crum is the best person situated for that. And the reason why is because there's requirements, procedures for complaint forms that need to be held, complaint procedures that need to be held and disseminated to the public if they believe they've been discriminated against by an employee of the county. So while it's related to this, the money in this instance is related specifically to the highway department, it might make sense to make from a broader perspective, the coordinator, someone who would be more of a forward-facing individual with the county structure. So the documents in your packet are a Title VI complaint form that would be held by the Title VI coordinator. If someone were to come in, either in the community or, someone from the community were to come in and complain about how they get treated, they could fill out this complaint form. It's 2 pages long. Underneath of it, you see what's called a Title VI complaint procedure that will also then be added to like our website and held in the Title VI coordinator's office. This is the procedure that the county will follow if a complaint is received. This is a requirement we have to have. I've structured it, I've looked through it, I feel confident with that. This is the right way to structure it. And then ultimately, if we have to, if there's ever a complaint is lodged, it needs to be investigated, as I perceive it, it'd probably be investigated by the sheriff's office or the county organization, with an actual investigator to determine whether or not there was in fact Title VI violation. And then you see in here kind of what the obligations are of the county if you find that there is one. The next document is called the Title VI complaint log. The Title VI coordinator will keep a record, a running record of the complaints that were brought in, what the status is, what the disposition of that complaint was. And then the last thing that we also have to keep is a federally funded project log, which is also attached in your packet. So the Title VI coordinator will just use that, that existing document.
This complaint form, is it only, in this instance, is it only for federally funded projects, or is it for any?
It's only for federally funded projects. Or it's only now, but
We have to say that we have, that you're in Title VI everywhere.
you're correct. I mean, I guess, correct. We have to have one because we're receiving the federal funds. I would say that if someone were to come in, best course of practice is to just accept the complaint. And then
Okay, so they can use that
Correct.
complaint anytime they think Title VI.
Correct.
Not just if it's.
Not just type, yes.
Okay.
Next document on this page, the next page of your packet is what I've not just cited as the additional language, page 6 of the employee handbook. This is the language that needs to be incorporated into our handbook to show we have Title VI policies. Carrie and I went through it, tying it in just below, there's a Title VII policy in the same area. My thought is just add it as another paragraph directly above below Title VII. It's just a statement to show you the fact that Title VI policy we already do the same thing. And then the special assurances are found on the following pages. That's language, and I'll work with Grant. This is specific to the highway, to the bridge contract. These have to be incorporated into subcontract and contract, subcontractor and contractor contracts with this bridge project.
Utilize these funds.
Yes, correct. Only in areas when we're utilizing these funds. So the OPEs who we're going to be working with, they should be very familiar with these assurances because they're going to be in every contract that they work with the state on similar, federally funded projects. So this shouldn't be reinventing the wheel. We just copied and pasted these assurances. We have not manipulated it other than from changing it from saying South Dakota Department of Transportation to Clay County, the only place that we've made any adjustments. We're just going to have to ensure through Grant, through OPE, that these assurances are properly placed in contracts as we start working with the contractor and the subcontractor. That's effectively what we need to do. So essentially, we need to designate a Title VI coordinator today, and then we need to adopt these documents. And then I will allow Carrie and I to work through the checklist to return that to the state of South Dakota to say we've done the same.
So other subcontractors that are not with are these federal dollars are not specifically flowing to, we are not making the statement that we are requiring all of them to be Title VI compliant. Is that correct?
Correct.
We have landscapers working out front of the courthouse, and they're a subcontractor. This isn't actually happening, but hypothetically. And then if they're not Title VI compliant, that's not a problem for us.
That's not a problem for us. I spoke to the state Title VI coordinator, state DOT, and they only incorporate the insurances on on those contracts that they're federally required to. Okay. So the recommendation was that we do the same. Only in this right now, it's very isolated to just these few contracts that we're going to sign relevant to the bridge. Renovation based off those things. So we will not, my recommendation will not incorporate this into additional contracts other than what we have to.
And how do you feel about the additional burden? It seems like you would be the investigators and it's just
No,
receiving
it makes
forms.
sense.
Yeah.
You have to fill out a couple documents. here in the next week with me, just to ensure that we can say that we're compliant, and then she'll have to put these, the procedure and the complaint up to the public, and also ensure that, if somebody comes in, she keeps a running tab of the project as well as the complaints themselves. So I hope it's very minimal as well.
Actually, I got a little ahead of myself. It's already posted on the website, so
Perfect.
that one's done.
I was gonna ask you about that, but you're way ahead of us as usual. So my first request would be a motion to name a Title VI coordinator. Second would be a motion to adopt the documents in the packet. And I guess probably specifically, third, you should adopt the language that's incorporated into the employee.
So let's start with the first one.
I'll make a motion that Gary become our Title VI coordinator.
Risk of anger and carry, I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the railroad? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Now we need to adopt the Title VI
The complaint form, the complaint procedure, and then the logs, the complaint log and the federally funded project log. I move, so moved. Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Handbook.
And the handbook, language of the handbook, and I guess let's do it in separate motions. I would just say to add, the next motion that I would request that you make would be to add this language. That I remember that the additional language to face up to the employment into the employee handbook.
I move to add the additional language to page 6 of the employee handbook.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
And I lied, I would better do one more to specifically, use Title VI, special assurances also need to be incorporated into the federally funded projects, when appropriate, that the language be designated as language of the county. I moved it whenever required by federal law, we include the Title VI, specialist assurances to subcontracts. Yes,
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
We'll do it in 10 minutes.
Good. So it's 9:30. We have a public hearing and second reading of a proposed ordinance to rezone land located next to 470th and Prairie View Drive. Currently zoned A1 agriculture, requested to be zoned to rural residential to build 6 more homes in the location. Legal description: tract 3, Scotesburg addition, east half, northeast quarter, and southeast quarter, 249251 Fairview Township.
Yep, so nothing really changed. We did go over last meeting, that it's gonna be a retention pond on that back half. 3 on Prairie and then 2 on, 470th. Other than that, I mean, the 14.82 acres is not able to have any houses built on it because of the housing eligibility. With it being rezoned to rural residential, it would open up that possibility to become eligible for housing. Not much really things between last meeting.
Was there any contact, well, maybe we'll get this public on it, but was there any contact with the township boards to find out about the codes at all?
That I do not.
Okay.
Adam, do you have anything to add? You want to today?
Nope, nothing's changed.
I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody would like to speak? You can state your name and address, please.
My name is Jose Vera. I live on 324 Street, north of Walmart. I believe anyone should be able to use their property as they wish if it doesn't negatively affect others. But this rezoning is for housing and that should be held to a high standard. Many people in the community have shared concerns from past projects with this developer. In one case, what was described as a retention pond turned out to be more of a shallow pit in our backyard. raising both water management and safety concerns. Another resident has had water issues linked to a project by the same developer in just the past few years. I also believe the developer should be required to provide detailed documentation and clear plans before this rezoning is approved. In past project, residents have said that they ask for this kind of information and do not receive it. Without clear plans, the county and the community are left at risk of dealing with problems after families move in. Rezoning is a long-term decision, and I urge the commissioners to carefully review this proposal and past developments before moving forward. As commissioners, you have the chance to make sure that new residents aren't burdened with flood issues on construction. Thank you.
Anyone else?
We're gonna have 985 Prairie Drive. And so you did get on the township board agenda for the 28th. And so we will be talking with them about our concerns on the drainage and so forth there. And then we are just putting in writing as a neighborhood. I don't have all the signatures yet, but it was suggested that maybe I could get a petition. And I realized that if there are further issues in the future that are civil, but I will just give us writing and we'll get some copies to submit those here for records. That's the only update we have. I think again, just to state that although some neighbors are concerned, with way of life concerns, I think that a lot of us would much rather have a housing development than a big farm or something like that. But we're just really wanting, not be mean people, but just wanting to protect the properties that we do have in that water runoff. And make sure that we're being responsible, realizing that this is probably, 5-6 year project. Maybe that is good, that each several seasons, but I think that the water's probably good. Did anyone follow up on mapping? The national mapping of the water. So
EM one
build the
designations.
I'm sure it's buildable.
Yeah, so it's not in place. So,
The emergent wetlands, I think this was a part of the discussion last time, and those would require a further, so them being in the map that you referenced is that these are possible wetlands. And if someone intended to build in a possible wetland, they need to go through the NRCS to get a verification that it is or is not a wetland. Am I getting that correct, Nolan?
For farmland, you do. I don't know what residential, what they have to, if that's the same process or not.
from my understanding, that's above our level.
It
That's
is.
usually the
Developer.
and the, yeah.
So should a developer request, so say we get through the plat process and you've got platted lots there and a developer requested to build a house on top of one of the light green dots here, or do you notify NRCS of that to come and verify that there's not a problem, or do you just issue the building permit, the house gets built, and then hopefully, if there is an issue, then the feds have noticed that, or what's the process there?
Yeah, that's on the builder, that's not on us.
So the builder checks with the feds? Yeah. I mean, these are actual questions, so yeah, if there's
I have all the documentation. I have 1026 for Thailand. There is no wetlands. I have a map. Everything's been completed.
So NRCS has looked at that parcel and there's no, so what's listed as the PEM 1As are not emergent wetlands.
Correct. There are no
By the
wetlands.
NRCS standards.
And I can get you a copy of this. I have it on.
And really, in my mind, that's more something for the plating stage in this process. That's the point where we, look in a detailed way at the lay of the land. We have public meetings again, public input is welcomed at those points, and that's where you work out the details of that specific aspect of the project is what my understanding of the process. Is that correct?
Okay, just looking to fill the holes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Mike Wenzel,
318-78-470th Avenue, Union County, just right to the east side of this property, 470th. And my concerns again are, I just think it's too many houses for that proposed area. And the conditions that the property is. So that's just my concerns. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, now I'm gonna close the public hearing. Thoughts by the board?
And I think I stated a few of my thoughts already, which is that, I think that if there are water management issues at the site, they need to be seriously considered at a plating stage. I think I have some, this is, I don't like the idea of leapfrog development, so building, little housing areas out, all around the county, but right now we have an established set of houses there. And so, and generally, I prefer the notion of attaching to an existing group. One of the issues with leapfrog development is just a strain on public infrastructure, needing to grow that would otherwise need to improve. So, I think that concentrating additional growth in this particular area doesn't immediately raise red flags for me. But I think that the water issues that have been brought up by many people are serious and certainly need to be, managed appropriately should we get to the planning stage on this.
Yeah, I'll be interested in finding what you guys find out on the 28th from the township meeting to talk about culverts more, because that would be a concern.
7 p.m. at the library.
There. Like 7 p.m. November 28th.
October. Yes, sir.
When did you have anything?
Yeah, I understand all the concerns about water also, but I think one of our responsibilities, and correct me if I'm wrong, is aren't we supposed to encourage development in our county? I mean,
Responsible.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And everything I'm hearing from Adam is he's done his homework over there, is what it appears to me like. As far as these wetlands, and yes, when they're building, yes, you gotta pay attention to the water. So,
Yeah.
but I'm just going back to the point of our responsibility of encouraging development.
It's not another scattered development.
Right.
Or leapfrogging. There's already a housing block there, we're adding to that housing block. So,
And I think, part of my thinking on this is that, I spent a little time away from the issue trying to think through what is the specific precise question in front of us. And it is not, the scopes for development. It is whether it's appropriate to change the zoning for anyone to use at this location. Adam could sell the property to somebody else and we might have a totally different developer in there. So, I think that trying to make sure that in my mind, as I'm considering this, I'm specifically holding back any questions of, responsibility or irresponsibility of the developer to the planning stage when a specific person is planning to do a specific development at that site. I think that's where, you might raise some of the issues that have been raised, but at this point, I think I appreciate the answers that have been given. I appreciate the research that's been done on this and,
And it fits within the ordinance. It follows the ordinance. Any further discussion? Wishes of the board?
Make the motion to approve the ordinance change to rural residential
Zoning change.
zoning change.
Have a motion.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Aye.
Can I interrupt? I think it needs to be a roll call.
Okay, so roll call,
Mochler,
yes.
Graylobe,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Teasy,
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Lake County Park chapter. Everybody get to look at that. Michael, you can do it, right?
I don't believe
Would you think pheasant hunting would be hard to follow? Is that what you included in it?
That's tricky, and I don't necessarily want anybody to walk with arrows, no. Not compatible.
So I think, contract looks okay.
Yeah, and this looks very boilerplate, it looks like this is my color, so, but, financial. So we, invited a couple other voices down in case, anybody had questions, so Todd Crownover is with us from Game Parks. He's a, private lands biologist.
Habitat biology.
Habitat biologist, I was so close.
Yeah.
Been very helpful as we work through on the park board level, some of the details of this contract. We also have, Tony Keller, who's the, current VP of Clay County Park Board, and one is somebody from the executive board on here too, so.
So I might have missed, is this just an every year annual contract?
It is not, no, so this is, so this is a 5-year contract, and I think, you know, we at the park board had been operating under the expectation, you know, that the park board was going to be the entity entering into the contract, and therefore, some of the discussions that we've been having with Todd had hinged upon the potential for flexibility. So it sounded like other entities, you know, you have a little bit of a kind of working things out phase where you get just the right details. You might discover an additional criterion you need to add, or maybe you're allowing one too many hunters or one too few hunters after you have it running for a few months, or the precise boundaries of the map might need to be adjusted a little bit to take some unknown factor into account. So part of, I think, the park board's comfort in planning to enter into this agreement was the ability to be the on the ground party that is discussing the game fish and park exchanges like that. So I had a few concerns when we, you know, so I talked to Michael. I sent the current park lease that's included in here, the chat contract to Michael, to see about what the most appropriate entity is. And Michael's opinion is that there's ambiguity in the language, you know. So right now we have in that lease that the park board gets to use it for recreation, you know. And so I think that was where, under that heading, is where I was assuming that the park board would be the entity entering into this. But it is ambiguous, and hunting rights aren't necessarily a part of recreation. So this would be a 5-year contract. It would involve an initial lump sum payment of $5,000. And essentially the teeth in the contract is, if we decide this is not working out for people, the public hates this, you know, this is terrible 1 year in, we would need to give back $5,000 to Game Fish and Park. So, you know, I think I'd be advocating for the park board within their books to hold on to that $5,000 through the term of the contract, or at least know that we have that available until we're really certain that that everything is good. You know, and right now, park revenue, anything that's generated by the park is, you know, within the park, you know, it's, so within our lease, the way it's structured, you know, the park board is the entity that does the crop ground leases. The park board, you know, has agreements with South Dakota Game Fish and Parks about how our campground revenue works, things like that. So that was, I think, the other part of the reason why I was assuming that this would maybe be signed by the park board. So I say all that just to say that I think that there might need to be some additional language if the Clay County Commission ends up signing this. Then I think that I would ask that the commission designate the authority to have future negotiations about contracts when they arise at the park board level. rather than needing to bring it, get it on the agenda here, wait for a meeting to come up. First we'd have to wait for a monthly park board meeting to come up to have that action, which would then take out several weeks until we could get it on this board. And then this board would need to make a discussion in a public hearing, and then that would need to go back to the park board to notify them. And it just, you could end up moving some questions out that would be much better to decide in a week, have the executive board and the park board meet and make a decision on something, instead we'd be having a bunch of public meetings about it. So I think that would be one route. Another route that I think would be to simply ask the Clay County Commission to clarify that the Clay County Park Board does have hunting rights as a part of their lease. So when our lease language says that the park has recreational rights there and can manage recreation of the site, that within that is the rights to manage hunting. And then I would say that the park board would be able to enter into this agreement. So, and I had a further, an advantage of this CHAP program is moving liability onto the state for any issues that occur with hunting on the site. And our current lease between the park board and the county commission takes all the liability and puts it on the park board. So the county is absolved of any decisions that we make as a park board. And so I also wanted to make sure that we thought through carefully and made sure that if the county is the entity that signs up for the CHAP, that we aren't leaving any liability holes where the Clay County Park Board is liable for something. Those liability protections are given to the county. They don't flow through to the park board. That gives me a little pause, because that's a real advantage of the CHAP from the Clay County Park Board's point of view is passing the liability for this onto the state. So those are my thoughts about it.
That is the case.
In what regard?
The liability going to the
So
state.
the liability goes to the state, that's my understanding as well, and further in the agreement that the county has with the park board, we have the indemnification clause in there as well that pushes liability from Clay County to the park board itself. So there's a couple layers of protection for the county, but it is true also that through this CHAP program, liability goes to the state.
I have another question here. There is that strip of land north of Timber Road. It's a small
Tree line.
yes.
Yeah.
Is that included?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
So that'd be the kind of thing where
It's not in this CHAP deal.
not at this time, but that's the sort of thing where we could say we need to add.
No, because it's not part of the park agreement, that's the county's.
Okay.
So that's completely separate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was mistaken where you're talking about. Yes, yeah,
North of the county shop.
road, yeah.
Just want to make sure that does not get included, because that would be very dangerous right
Yeah.
there. It's right beside the road and
Yep.
there's a building site right there. So,
Yep.
okay.
It is also true that I believe this contract very clearly states that all revenues derived from the property shall be responsible, will show the park board under this contract. Although I would say that hunting rights, it's too ambiguous to say that hunting rights have been passed to the park board specifically under the terms of this lease. Any revenue derived from the property as a whole returns to the park board, not into the county general fund. And that's your expectation, right? Yep.
It does say to be used for farm ground, but, and it says all expenses associated.
But doesn't normally don't hunting rights go with the operator
No.
unless specifically expressed in the contract?
Yes, that is.
So since they're not expressed in the contract, whoever is farming the ground this year is actually entitled to the hunting rights. Because it's not expressed in your contract, right, with that operator?
We had pretty specific language in there, and I don't know if hunting rights were. I'd have to pull that up. I haven't seen that. I'd have to pull that up.
I don't have a problem with however you write it. You just need to follow so that there's not a problem.
Was that a 3-year?
It's a 2-year that we're about to renew, so that would be something that we could resolve for the coming crop year.
It was a 3-year, wasn't it?
It was a 2-year and a 1-year. So we had one that was on a 1-year and one that was on a 2-year.
And
Yeah,
this is
I
the
actually
second-
thought it was 3 years as well, but I was just reviewing it.
And this is the second year right now,
That's right, yeah, the wrap up 2nd year.
but it's gonna carry over through the hunting season if
That's
it's not expressed in there. So if we sign this Chaps contract, how will that affect that?
I believe you can talk to him. Just have to-
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
If he's willing to.
Yes, and also to reassure things for him, it can be in, if it's not already in the language, that people cannot hunt that property while they're standing unharvested crops. We have that pretty regularly, you know.
Yeah, I thought we had that in here, but if we didn't, then
Yeah,
it was the board's intention to have that.
It's very, very, open to change, like, it is control, CHAP is CHAP, which is Controlled Hunter Access Program, so it means control hunters, means you guys have the control of everything you hunt, how they hunt them, when they hunt them. If somebody wants to say, oh, the Boy Scouts are coming out for 2 days, he just lets me know, we close it to hunt for those people. So, and right now, you would get $20 for every person that's hunting out there, so all the people bowling right now, you're not making any revenue from, so assuming you get the contract signed, assuming you start making revenue. But if you have any questions all at any time, he has my number and we are here to answer questions.
But I think going forward, if we do sign this 5-year contract, and when it comes time to renew, I mean, you guys can negotiate it, but the county's still gonna have to sign it because they're the owner. The park board won't be able to sign the contract to tie up that's owned by the county.
So tie up the hunting rights on that ground.
Right. Any contract, you can't enter into any contract without the county's approval, because they're the owner. It'd be no different than if you were renting a house. You couldn't take a loan out on the house. 'Cause you
Right,
don't-
so nothing that's not the scope of the authorities that are granted to us. Right.
If it's authorized to the scope of the lease, then we would be in a discussion. If a lease permitted,
That'd be pretty tough. Well, for me anyway, it'd be tough to give up that authority to.
I think that, you know, the trade-off for giving up for designating the authority, which I think is the right way to look at it. You know, the authority is designated on a lease that can be terminated with 30 days notice, you know, and that's designated to the park board so that the park board, the dozen people that meet every month, deal with issues all year round, go and mow for free. You know, that none of that is stuff the 5 of us, well, except for myself, need to do. So, you know, I think that's kind of that's why, you know, we don't have to sit around and, you know, work out all the details of the crop lease. We don't have to work out all the details of Game Fish and Parks about, you know, how many campsites we have and whether they're working well and whether, you know, something going up when it needs to, whether it changes the place. I think that's why we have a park board. So, you know, I think that part of that is that in order for the park board to do the planning that they need to do, they need to have some confidence that they can get into the weeds on this contract and make it work. So.
Well, you can, you just don't have the final say on it. Because even though I'm not out there mowing, I field a lot of phone calls about park board. Not that you're doing a bad job, people are just questioning why are they doing this, and the hunting one was a big one. That one I should have put my phone on mute, but I mean, so we're not shielded from all the questions that the public has, so I like to try to go that way, these things that come.
Yeah. So that's why I take pretty seriously, you know, as the appointed representative of that body, the responsibility to come here and let the rest of the commission know about what's going on at the park level, you know, what decisions we're making, what issues are coming up.
And I still have, what do we want to call it, long-term memory, how this used to operate.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time giving up, turning too much away.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I think that part of, to address that and make sure we don't go down that path again, I mean, I think that this park board is quite interested in getting stuff in writing, you know, working out the terms, thinking several years ahead, trying to, make sure that, like some guys be sitting in seats on our board, that we've got clarity on what agreements we're entering into, unlike the way things have been done previously. So, So, I guess I kind of threw out there a couple different possibilities. I think that it sounds like you're averse to the possibility of assigning to clarifying via resolution that our current lease grants hunting rights to the Clay County Park Board to manage. Am I getting that right?
Well, that's in your, if it's not in your contract, they go to the operator if it's not expressed in your contract. So you'll have to figure that out, if it's in there or not.
Yeah.
Or to get him to sign off, to give them back to you.
So
Then we can sign this contract.
exactly. So that, so that would be another area where, so in our current lease, it is not clearly say hunting rights are not a part of this lease. It simply is ambiguous. There is language in there that says that the ability to manage recreation, I'm paraphrasing, is granted to the park board. So one avenue that I would see would move this back to the park board and allow them to do things like call our operator and say, are you comfortable with us entering into a chat contract on this? And work those details out and get this contract signed without having to have this come up at the October 28th meeting. Well, I guess. So, so that's one way that I think that this could be handled, where that would just go to the park board. Otherwise, if that's not a part of it, then we would not have had the authority to negotiate anything about hunting rights with our operator. That would need to come back to this body. This body would need to discuss with Nick whether, the hunting rights, whether he was comfortable having those part of the chat. I mean, I guess that's one of the reasons why I thought that avenue was more appropriate.
So all you would have to do is get it okay from Nick, have him sign them back to you. And then going forward in your contract between you and whoever the land operator is. Because if we rented it to you, we gave you the hunting rights.
Yes.
If you gave them to the operator.
If that has occurred, then this.
Because we didn't hold it
discussed.
back in the contract.
Can we just table this till next week so we know for sure?
Well,
what
see,
that agreement says?
that's where we're at, is the hunting season is rolling along. All those folks that called you about hunting rights would love to get out there and start putting their tree stands up and stuff, so.
Well,
That's
So I
why
think what Jeffrey wants is the going forward part. It'd have to be for next year. Currently, right now, Nick, if it's Nick Olson, he has the hunting rights. Because you expressly didn't keep them in the contract.
That was not something that I worked through, so. And what I can tell you is, in the lease from, the county owns the property,
Right.
right? The county entered into a lease with the Clay County Park for back in 2020.
Yep, and we didn't keep the hunting rights.
I disagree.
Okay,
So here's why. The lease itself reads that it turns over, what the lease specifically states is that, the leasee agrees to use the premises for farming purposes and for park and recreational purposes. There's no specific language about hunting rights. That's the only language that's relevant to.
Right, but there's no specific right that says landowner retains hunting rights, which is what you have to put in to.
I mean, generally, the landowner retains rights unless they turn them over under specific. I think they do that.
He just answered. I don't want to put words in your mouth either.
No, and it might be an unwritten rule. I don't know if there's a law or how it's said, but in my line of work, usually everything goes with the tenant unless specifically said, and not necessarily always with the contract. It could be.
So, and that's how it works in my work.
So what I would propose then is, well, I'll make a motion. I mean, I make a motion that we pass a resolution that simply clarifies that is the understanding of this commission, that hunting rights are included in the lease to the park board. Because I think that clarifying that then puts the park board in the position where they can finish having these discussions with Nick, they can get a contract signed, and then we can move forward on it.
Can't we just put that line in the contract?
You can, but then we're gonna have to revisit the contract.
Yeah,
Resolution.
My resolution was simply that that is the understanding of this commission, that that is how
Well,
that.
wouldn't it take the same amount of time? Because we can't do the resolution today, we don't have it written in front of us. But we could add that line to the contract and renew that contract next week.
We could.
I mean, it's a simple line of, leasing. Clay County Park Board, we'll just say Clay
I
County
think
Park
you get
Board.
to the same, I think you get to the same outcome.
It's just in the contract though, because the resolutions get lost. You guys will hold the resolution, but you'll hold on to the contract and read it.
Yep.
And future park boards don't have to go, did they pass a resolution? Because everybody's just gonna look through a contract.
There's like one or two other words in there that I would think that that might be worth, revisiting as well. So that sounds great. Let's go ahead and just do, it's a great time to renew that lease. It's a month-to-month lease anyway, but it would be good to,
It's month to month for the first 6 months. It's annual now, isn't it? Well, no, we can pull it back anytime within 30 days.
Yep. So we can.
That was the original.
How does the exec board, representative of the room feel? Are you comfortable with that?
I am. The only thing that I would add, just as, to the
So
discussion.
come on up because the microphone won't pick you up otherwise.
The only thing that I would add, one of the reasons that the board really liked this proposal is that historically hunting has taken place out here. It's been going on since the 60s. And it's been under the park board hasn't really had any sort of issues with it. So hunting has been going on for decades. And we just saw this opportunity come across as a way to not only generate a little bit of revenue, but more importantly, make sure that the resources are shared between community, different people of different interests and needs within the community to bring those to balance. And then also have that added benefit. Of course, GFP is always out there doing what they do, but this brings them a lot closer in to make sure that it's being hunted and taken care of and used in a way that's according to best practices through GFP jurisdiction. So we're just looking to take something that's been there and making it a little bit better.
Yeah, I think we can do.
Okay, I withdraw my motion then.
We can do the contract next week. You can find out from Nick, we can know by next week too. He gives you the hunting rights back, and we can do the chaps contract for you, and it's done.
Okay.
And then it's expressly written, it's on paper, and we're good. When you do the hunting, like, I would assume there'll be tree stands out there. Do you have them logged in or numbered in case a tree falls down that's attached to one?
They have to label them. I can let Todd cover the details on that.
Just so you know who to call.
It's up to you, but yeah, so basically when we, bind into a contract like that, then we have extra, like I'll be involved, the conservation officer will be involved, and you can make the rules. One of the reasons that I understand you guys wanted a chap was because the tree stands were everywhere now, for years, and people were trapping that you didn't want, and they were doing all kinds of things that you couldn't really regulate. This way you could say, you could say like one tree stand per person, or it has to be labeled. That's the good news about this is that there's so many variables that you can add or subtract. So you want to have one or two tree stands a person. We did put on there that if you put a pop-up blind up, that you have to take it down every single night, because they take 2 minutes to put up and down. So Sisters Grove in Yankton has one, and that's what we do. Is if you put a pop-up blind up, you have to take it down. That way it doesn't look like a tent city out there, But yeah, so tree stands, you can allow as many as you want and have them named. So that way there's garbage around there or something goes on, or somebody sees a tree stand where somebody's sitting and there's a violation, that the guy's name is right off.
No, I get that part. I mean, I find them on my land, but I don't even. 2 more deer stands.
You gotta get one of these chat contracts and you can call conservation.
Not 2 more tree stands, you can open my own outdoor show.
All right, to me, that seems like an already resolution. Thank you, everybody, for engaging on that one. Yep, and I'm sorry to kick it off one more week. I know
No,
that's
that's fine. You guys are in control. If you need me for anything, just call me. If you need to come back here, just.
okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are we ready with Lloyd? Michael?
Yep, they're here.
Oh. You can come to the front table. Yes.
Morning. Good morning.
I'm Austin with Light Construction, Brett, Light Construction. I believe you guys should have, the two projects, the projects are split up into two narratives on those are with you guys as well. We do have a contract back to Michael, the last comments you had from Tegra. Dan has looked at those as well. I have that in my email. I'll send that to you. You know, look like too much for you on that.
No.
I guess we're here for questions on it, or if you'd like, we can go through the narratives each. It's up to you guys. I could also connect to a screen, yes, and possibly connect to a screen.
That
Is that-
HDMI cord should reach.
Does it reach over? Oh, reach the cable back there. Maybe no one can get forward for you in there.
So while they're getting set up, my hope today is that they'll provide a presentation to the community. Opportunity for the committee to kind of engage in the conversation. And then ultimately, I would like the committee to give a recommendation of the board today, but pursuant to 110.7.1.8, a committee, the decision from the board then should be tabled to the next week on final decision. That will also give Lloyd and myself on a final contract report the next week as well.
And you have to. Got it. Yep.
Go back and get one for you.
We're gonna take a
We'll get
3-minute
there.
recess.
Do you know if their end is plugged into the TV?
Got HDMI that has painter's tape on it. Oh, well, no, that's just like. But you have two heads under here. One HDMI in, and then HDMI in 2. Which, do we know which one this one goes to?
I believe we're on one.
Okay. You have to do your.
Could be wrong.
Function, whatever. It's trying to do it automatically, but it keeps kicking it back. Let me try to connect and reconnect.
I guess the AD might take long enough. What were each of your names again?
Austin.
Austin, Brett, and Bryce. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you as well.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it. It is not a photograph. Would it be helpful to you if I typed that? We can do that. Yeah, I've got
A little this time, but then it kicks back every time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I stream to these screens?
Do you have any time, like? Thursday,
I
Friday,
don't know.
to
That's a good question.
Take a look through this, just want to clean it up.
Yes, I hope so. I'm hoping that I can get to it. Tomorrow's gonna be back on Thursday or Friday. I'm gonna try that. On itself. Essentially, I need to decide if I'm going to
It's essentially kind of just creating these more than anything. I'll take a look at it, I'll figure out what.
I'll go through it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, you have, these aren't labeled like 504 West, I think that's.
Yeah, I still think wholeheartedly, regardless of how you go out, I'll tell you what I'll do on how we'll own it first. Without a, normally does that, and it kicks it over, but. It's coming in now.
I wonder if it's, we just extended.
Because when you go to it does, because when you go to get a license,
You
you
have
have
to,
they ask you.
Well, again, that answer really operates, I think, so I'm not sure, if it's assuming I got the landowner. Yeah, well, let's try and do that.
Because if it's trespassing, it's trespassing. If you're not able to over. Privileges, but I still think it's landowner. Permit right over. No, it's the other operator.
Like I said, in my world, it goes with the land, it's not.
Then you carry it,
And I think that the state. I
think we got it.
There it is. Will be the hunting license. They're not at all. You don't give word to sell it.
Right, but they operate for that theory too.
Yeah, that's fair, although.
And I'm sure there's a case law that over hunting rights, which normally the operator is very willing to work with the landowner when it comes to hunting rights. Because I'm not gonna lose the land over a deer.
No, for sure, but I'm saying that I think in order to formally turn it over. Let's go through it. Practically, but this is legal.
Because when it comes to mineral rights, it has to be written that the owner retains them, otherwise it transfers.
Yeah, that's true, but that's different than transferring ownership.
All right, back to business. Yeah, I think we're ready. You guys are.
Yeah.
All right,
We're back in session.
All right, we will start with going over the courthouse phase of this. This is actually phase 2 of the project. Also subdivided into phase 2A and 2B. 2A would be large courtroom plus the adjustments needed to the judge's office and the other office layouts. And then 2B would be the refresh of the smaller courtroom and judges or jury room, excuse me, along with the addition of an ADA bathroom and some paint carpet refresh as well. So, existing conditions, basically it's just a little description of the building, 3-story building, basement, the scope of work, demolition, phase 2A. We have the non-load bearing wall we'll be removing. We do know that there's lead paint involved, so we have that taken care of as well. Inside the large courtroom, that jury half wall, we're actually going to be extending that out to allow for seating in front for ADA wheelchairs, stuff like that. So it'd be on the ground floor. Right now you have the 2 raised areas. 2B would be basically that jurors room. There's a wall dividing that right now. Take out that wall, making the jurors room larger. There's also lead paint there, which we know about. And then they have raised floors on those 2 bathrooms as well. So the raised floor will be coming out of the bathrooms. We'll actually enlarge the one in the jurors room, making that ADA compliant bathroom in there. Concrete masonry, I just have that in there. We have a little bit of CMU patchwork for when we tie the new plumbing into the elevator shaft. So we'll have that patched up once we get that plumbing all tapped in or tied in there. Framing, it's just metal stud walls, drywall, paint on those in each of the new wall locations. Doors, the plan is to reuse as many of these doors as possible, basically just to keep the same look. We do have, or we believe we have enough doors in the attic stock that we are going to modify to make working frames. So we are trying to secure that stairwell, and in doing so, we are adding the doors back in on every floor in that location, kind of down where Brett's mouth is located. And then, yeah, in our portion of the project right now, we have 3 doors that we are securing with dropout stripes. That would be the door between the small court and the jurors room, the south door of that jurors room. To the right, one more, yeah, right there. And then the south stair door that we are actually putting back in right there. So that will entail basically, secure entrance to those. If there is a fire, the dropout strikes will allow people to travel through for egress and stuff like that. So, safety should all still be intact as far as that goes. The mechanical systems, there isn't a lot in this one. We are adding acoustical ceilings into there, so we have to add new diffusers and such and rearrange a few of the existing ones. We are adding 2 additional ones into that main lobby area. The units that services that area is actually going to be behind the closed door at this point after we put those doors back in. So we are adding 2 new supplies into that area as well, just to help with airflow. Electrical, basically we're just adding the power to the bathrooms. We're gonna add an outlet in that jurors room. We're gonna ensure that there is power in the jurors office. As of right now, we don't think there's a need for any additional outlets, so it seems. We are also gonna be reusing the fire alarm within the space. We just have to relocate it in new ceilings and make sure they're all working properly. So just relocation of fire alarms within this space. In both courtrooms, we are adding 4 boxes into, I guess, the tables out in front of the judges. This will be 4 boxes for power and whatnot, instead of having ports across the floor. So they'll just be a pull-through box with power data as well. And I think that's about it for the electrical portion on both of those areas. We will get to data and security up here down a little further. Plumbing, basically, as mentioned, we're gonna rearrange or lower the floors and the smaller, yeah, there you go. We're gonna lower the floors in that existing bathroom, so we'll have lower fixtures, lower toilets, all that stuff. We are gonna expand that ADA bathroom, so moving all the plumbing within there and below, so there will be work below this floor as well, so on the second floor above that ceiling. And then basically every area that we are in, we're gonna be doing drywall touch up and paint and carpet throughout, so. And then adjustments to the acoustical ceiling as needed, so there will be the 2 judges' office, there's gonna be a separate step in there. It was approved to kind of make a step in the ceiling versus putting a whole new ceiling within the space. So versus having one flat ceiling, we're gonna have a little bit of step. And we don't know the size of that yet. I mean, we don't know how far off each heights are at the moment. So to verify how big the step that is unknown at the moment. Flooring, as discussed, review the new carpet on the judges stand and the jurors stand in the large courtroom, same in the small. We'll do the judges stand and a carpet tile on the floors in the small courtroom, the jurors room, the 2 offices, and then we're doing tile floors within the 2 bathrooms. There are adjustments in there as well. Yeah, we just had basically in the courthouse, we are matching, or going to try to match existing finishes, keep that look of the courthouse. The carpet, we have the carpet provided by the county. We are going to match the carpet throughout. Now they have different dialogue and stuff, so the new carpet and the old carpet really shouldn't be touching in too many areas besides the juror's office and that other office. The same carpet is different dialogues, so you might see a little bit of a difference there, but the door transition will make that kind of disappear. And then, yeah, the specialty items would be your installation of 5 cameras and 2 microphones that in each courthouse or courtroom. The installation of 4 inline microphones, 2 zone audio interface modules. So basically, it'll all go back to a recording device within the courthouse. So, which is all going to be completed by Midwest Farm. There you go. If you're blank for a second. So they're already in your building.
So they're familiar, they know what you guys are looking for, so they will be doing that work in this one. Questions, again, on the courthouse portion of this one? Okay, we will move to the safety center then. This one has a little more work and, call out on it. This one's a single phase, although we will try and turn this one over in 2 stages just to align with the courthouse, scheduling and stuff like that. Demolition, there's a lot more demolition on this one. There's a lot of CMU walls that are fully grouted, full of rebar. So this is gonna be a pretty, heavy demo. It's gonna be dirty, dusty, not fun to be around. So I'm glad that you guys are able to move out of this phase of it. I mean, could we do it with you guys in there? Yes, but nobody, I don't think anybody really has too much fun with that. So the CMU's coming out. We have the new layouts. I don't think I have a plan of the demo up there, but there is a good chunk of walls coming out, CMU walls. We also have a little bit of rework up in the northwest corner where we're removing a wall and adding a wall to create another office in that corner. Yep. And then we also have metal stud walls going in that office, along with a furred out wall in the jail cell on the south end. So those jail cells are treating the ADA bathrooms. Yeah, right there. So instead of having large or group bathrooms, we're doing individual bathrooms, all going to be ADA accessible. Although the only requirement is to have one, we're going to turn out 3 of them into ADA because we have the space.
Is there a sink in the mother's room? Is that what that?
There is no sink. That's just an existing little block out wall there. So there must either be.
Oh, that's the
plumbing
that's the pillar, isn't it?
Well, it could be a pillar. I don't know if there's a pillar in that corner. I think that's plumbing chase. If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken on that one. But yeah, and then the other little squares and within the old cells, those are all old plumbing chases too. As right now, we are not touching those. We'll get rid of the old plumbing pipes out of there. But we are not gonna demo those out just to put them back in essentially. I guess there will be some roof penetrations, so we do have some roof patching included on this as well. Doors in this phase, we are planning to reuse some of the doors that are demoing out in spots that we can. We will have purchased some new doors, so we will match as well as we can the existing doors. Mechanical, that one kind of a bigger one as far as control go. We are getting rid of pneumatic controls in this building to go with an updated digital control. We also have new registered, new exhaust fans in every bathroom. So we're actually touching 8 of the 9 bathrooms here, so they'll all get new exhaust fans as well while we're in there. And then we are going to replace the motor in that VAV number 5, which is kind of by the north cell block in that little hallway there. So that motor is out, but we'll get that replaced within this one as well. Electrical, we're redoing the ceilings in this whole space, so all new ceilings. I'm getting new lights throughout, dimmable LEDs in the north office sections. We are getting additional data in the offices, and we do have a set of plans that shows all the new data drops within this building as well. All new fixtures, lighting fixtures, that fire alarm to remain. We're planning on reusing the existing branch circuit. If some are needed to be added, we do have those things as well. Plumbing, we are getting all new fixtures in the 8 bathrooms. So we do intend to use the newer toilet, which would be in the men's bathroom in the courthouse, for swapping out. So this is a non-ADA toilet that's in there currently. We're going to put that into the non-ADA bathroom in the courthouse as well. So just to reuse that toilet since it is a newer toilet. I guess, yeah, other than that, the plumbing, that should be most of that. Fire protection, we do have sprinklers to adjust in the building connection area, as we are dropping a ceiling in that as well. Drywall finishes, we're going to be touching up all the drywall walls that are in there. There's not many, but we'll touch all those up, repaint it, get the block repainted. basically refresh the whole space. Stair treads on the west stairs going down to the lower lane or to the lower exterior lane, they may call it. But not the ones into the basement, but we do have stair treads for those. I guess as far as finishes goes, we are also getting flooring throughout this whole space, carpet in the offices, and LVT in your public, yes, walk paths. We are gonna leave the tile in place in the main entrance, kind of splitting the two sections up to the north of it. That main hallway comes right there, so that has tile in there now currently. It seems to be in good shape. We are just gonna leave that, we'll protect it and clean it up. So we plan on leaving that. Otherwise, we will do LVT in the main hallways, break rooms, and then we are doing tile and V8 bathrooms from floor to ceiling, just to replace what was there. We are gonna take it out, which is why we're also gonna put it back in for us and just put them tile on ceiling walls. You're not gonna make them look pretty again without tearing them apart. Our flooring goes, we are gonna level in between the south cells. There is a little meeting room there. We are gonna south further, yep, that little consultation room. We're just gonna self-level that one, get rid of the mops and that's in there. Just make that usable for them to meet with their clients in there. We are planning on doing for casework, work. We are planning on doing new cabinet in the kitchenette, the break room. And then we also have a whole, in the treasurer's office, we have a whole workstation along with windows, new furniture in there. As of right now, we have planned for some new furniture in the north offices as well. So flying and installing all that. Other than that, as I mentioned, I would like to turn this one over, telling starting one phase, turn it over in stages, giving that north section, hopefully get that turned over sooner. That way we can move. Mike one is to move down there while we do phase 2B of the courthouse and we can function without the loud noise happening in this section. So turning this one over in 2 phases. With that, guys, any questions on that?
The only one, I was thinking through as we were talking about the HVAC improvements, I wasn't totally clear when we did the HVAC improvements on the old courthouse. Did any of that touch the old law enforcement center? No. So what's the system that was, do they have an independent air conditioner, boiler? I don't know what's the system.
So right now, you're
there, Scott, you really,
I guess it did. Yes, it did impact the safety center in the aspect that the safety center and the courthouse is sharing boiler now.
Okay.
So there's no individual boiler in the safety center.
Okay.
That's the only impact it had. The air conditioning is the same as it has been, which is direct expansion units, one for this side, one for that side. Okay. So, yeah.
Right.
But we're still on the old pneumatic system over here.
Appreciate it. I just realized I was unclear on that. So thank you. Impressed at how much you guys managed to get into the final plan. I know it was really hard.
They did the heavy lifting, we just threw curveballs and made a change.
We take curveballs, yeah.
I still want pay. Right?
Yeah, we're not sure. We just got that later. Yeah, so we needed a motion to recommend.
Well, ultimately, so pursuant to state law, what we need to do is, let me make sure I read it right. So, as I read this, it's 127, 1.18. So any final recommendations that result from a meeting of the committee shall be reported in open meeting to the governing body, what we're doing here, with which appointed the committee. So essentially, we just have to bring that. We need to come to an open meeting with who appointed the committee. The commission who appointed this committee is Lynn, Scott, and Andy were the voting members. Ron and I are also on the committee as non-voting members. We now then need to bring a recommendation to you, because you're the ones who formed the committee. And then it says the governing body shall delay, the governing body shall delay taking any official action on the recommendations until the next meeting of the governing body. So no motion, really. What we need to do now is just formally bring as a committee a recommendation to you pursuant to the information that Boyd Construction Policy is presented to you.
All right, well, I have no issues or complaints or concerns. I think this looks really great. Thank you for your hard work on the meeting.
So I think it'd be fair to say that our recommendation is that we move forward with this project as presented by Lloyd Construction. The contract should be in final form by next Tuesday, with the understanding and hope that at next meeting, you can take action on signing that contract and officially beginning work on the anticipated beginning date of October 27th.
Did I miss the price somewhere?
I don't think it was incorporated in here.
We didn't put the price into the narrative, no. We do have, overall budget was 1.5. The courthouse is 350. The safety center is 1.15. With 179,000 of it being owner contingency.
So and that's when we worked through kind of the scope of the project, we needed to ensure that we had enough built in for contingencies. So there's a few things in here that we ultimately cut out as a committee on bringing to you, because we just felt like it was important to have a contingency that was going to be ample to provide for. We 110-year-old building, but we can never know what we're going to find in the walls when we start digging in, especially in the courthouse. So just being prepared for that, we felt like it was really necessary. Things like even the HVAC control, which is going to be my side, all those different offices are all controlled by one thermostat. We explored the idea of cutting those apart and found that the expense was too high, it wasn't worth it. So things like that we've explored and we've left out, or things that we potentially we put in originally that we've now omitted, just to ensure that we felt comfortable with the contingency.
Get a motion.
So I move to put this on the next, or move to accept the recommendation.
I think the proper, if you're gonna make a motion, the motion would be to really just table a decision pursuant to the state law. Until the meeting on the 14th.
So we don't need a motion.
You don't need a motion, really. We provided you a recommendation, and so long as we've done that, we provided the recommendation, they presented to you the scope of the project as well as the budget now, and then in the next meeting, my hope would be that this commission it'll be included in the next packet, the contract, and then make the intention to be at that time, the chair would sign off on that contract and make a motion to move forward with the project as.
So we got authorization to engage Meyer Henry Sargent for lease with the city for the jail and law enforcement center.
So this was on the discussion that we've been having for a while now, as it relates to the scope of the city and county's relationship with this new building. And I'm working with, I've had discussions with John Prescott, I've had discussions with Todd Meyer Henry, I've had discussions with Fagra as well on all of this, and Tom from Collier. I think because of the nature of the bond, as well as the amount of money that we're talking about here, more like $3 in the city and county, the wise decision is to have someone who invests in most of their legal time in the field to prepare the document to ensure it's in compliance with the bill bond. That's what we wanted to do. So I have been in contact. I was hoping I would have like an engagement letter from Meyer Henry Sargent today. That hasn't happened. But I've had those conversations with Todd, I've had those conversations. Todd Meyer Henry, I've had the conversations with John Prescott. My hope today is that essentially this commission is willing to, I would ask for a motion to, in good faith, begin working with Meyer Henry Sargent. I'll of course bring you the a good document by next week. Move forward with the city on signing that document.
document will be done.
Right, but
Because we
correct.
final.
Next week have framework in place so that we can have this document in place when the time comes and final bills are not.
Which, yeah, because payment schedule is gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be what it is, and the city's work was calling theirs. So they're not gonna have, they shouldn't have a problem, I don't think, with the payment schedule where Tom was suggesting.
But you won't know those numbers till January.
Oh, God, I hope I know before then.
It's gonna be a while.
I hope within a month.
Okay.
I mean, depending on how, well, it's,
All right.
it's open house stuff. But I mean, it should be done next week, but there'll be little things. So, and that all depends on if it's warranty work or if it's stuff that we're still waiting on.
So I request a motion to allow me to continue to engage in negotiations with my under sergeant, to bring an engagement letter to begin the work on a contract.
So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I think we did. Brent, you on, or would you, Michael, did you have anything else?
No.
Brent, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep, can now. So you got these quotes?
Yeah, I got a fuel quote for Wakanda. Volun Oil won the bid at $255.
Move to approve, low bid from Illinois.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And then on 456th Avenue and 313th Street by the new Southwest Co-op elevator.
On the updated one there. Right.
So let's start with dust control. We need to put, what is it, calcium chloride or whatever they spray on the road to control the dust. From Highway 50 to 313 on 456 to 313, and then 313 to the entrance of Southeast. We've got a quote of $4,500 to have that done. So everybody's in favor of that and get a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the dust control.
Got room in your budget, Brent?
Either he does or we do.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Are you able to cover it, Brent, or do we need to?
I should be able to cover it.
Okay, and, well, 1 second. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. So Merle's gonna have, Merle Lyons, the manager out there,
Okay,
got somebody who's doing their parking lot. And he's just gonna have him contact, and I'll contact Merle today to let him know. He's gonna contact the guy to do it all at the same time. And then they'll bill you.
you know a time frame or
We're hoping tomorrow.
tomorrow? I know like going west from 456 on the shoulder and 313th, the traffic's really beat that down, and usually before they spray that down, they want that road up to tip-top shape. So maybe I should get some guys out there and spread some gravel and kind of get it formed back up before they spray it then.
Yeah, we should talk to Merle, because he was talking about having Pullman dump crushed concrete on that side just to try and get it to hold.
Oh, okay, okay,
But I'll talk to him today and I'll get back to you.
okay, sounds good.
Well, Merle called me about this on the shore, the other side of the road pushing out. He was gonna have get it fixed. So I was hoping he had it done. And then, we won't be able to do it today because if we do decide to do it, we need a resolution for a speed limit on that road. On 456, they're flying up and down that road. not this traffic, not the truck traffic, but the other traffic. They're not slowing down for that intersection at all. And we were talking about putting it at, I think, 25, where it was. But we could do that, if we could have a resolution.
Just from
Well, it'd be
456 to the west.
456 to 313 north, from Highway 50 to 313. Would be 25, and then 25 from
Going west
456.
to the elevator.
Well, actually, it's railroad tracks, it would just be the whole road.
Yeah.
But yes. And then
50 to 456. And then I'm sorry, from 50 on 456 from Highway 50 up to 313, it's like a quarter mile.
Yep,
And
25.
then back to the, remind me, that's to the
Back to
west.
the west.
From on 313 back to Highway 50, which would be about another, maybe a little longer, maybe a third of a mile.
Didn't we already do that?
Yeah, I thought we.
I thought we did this.
Did we? We never put the signs up.
We did the resolution.
I think you guys did the resolution already, yeah.
Because I knew we talked about it, but I thought we were gonna do it once the road was done. Minute search?
That's what I was gonna
I'm fairly certain we did.
If you can find it, Carrie, that'd be great, then we don't have to do the resolution, it's already there, but.
I think we did too.
I really think.
There are stop signs going north and south, so
Right.
do you want them east and west also?
No.
Four-way or?
We want them, we want it on the north side, stopping the traffic coming south
Correct.
at 313.
They're both ways.
Right, there's one on the north and south side.
Yeah.
So we want to move them to the corners, we want to. One on the east side, one on the south side, right? Well. Here's southeast, here's Highway 50. We want the stop sign here, stopping traffic coming this way. That's there. And we want a stop sign here, stopping traffic going this way. We want to give this the right of way.
I remember that as well.
I have to look again. I was
Here.
thinking.
It's stopping this way, this is.
I just want to move that one.
Yeah, we need to move that one. So the truck traffic has the right of way.
Yeah.
Plus that gets these, if they're stopping, then they're not, hopefully not going through.
Yes. Yep. And it'll slow these guys down too.
Yep.
Just to manage it. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we're probably gonna have to put those flasher, like we have on the other,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be new
Yep.
to people, so.
You have guys at night once in a while. Oh, it's getting darker earlier all the time. So.
Well, just the flashers during the day too, just so
Yeah.
somebody's like, what is the flasher for? So, and Brent, I know you can't see this picture, and we'll have to go out there and look, if this is what we decide to do.
Okay,
We're talking about having stop signs. One would be, it's already there coming from, if you're going south on 456, it's on the north side of 313.
okay,
So that one would stay. And the new one would be on the north side of 313, stopping traffic going west.
okay,
So it would give the right of way for people coming off Highway 50, making the turn, going to the elevator.
okay.
Is that, so you didn't find anything in the minutes?
There's nothing in the minutes. July 1st, the board discussed the speed limit and placement of stop signs, and they asked that the matters be added to the agenda for the next meeting. Did we just not do that? We must not have. Was that the end of it?
No, that I talked to you about. And I
Oh,
was
we know.
typing up the resolution.
You got it. It's resolution 2025-19.
Okay,
So-
I was
so
gonna
it's in
say, I
place.
know that I typed up the resolution because I called Travis to find out.
Whereas members of the, yep, so this was, July 8th, members of the Clay County Board of Commissioners previously determined 25 miles per hour was the most best interest. And installed that portion of 313 from 50 to 456 and 456 to 313 on 50. And whereas we're allowed under SDCL 3225-9. So yeah, it's resolved.
Well, this is great, because when I typed in resolution, and then, pulled 6 different.
I typed in speed limit.
And I did that too, and it showed nothing, but now I've re-pulled it, I closed out, and pulled back in, and now I went from 6 findings on the term resolution is 94.
So, Brent, do we have speed limit signs? Or we gotta get them ordered?
Yeah, I should have some on hand.
We need 220. Well, we need 4. There'll have to be one coming off both on 456, we'll need one coming off Highway 50. And one coming from the north after they hit the stop sign
Okay,
going south. And then we'll need one on 313 coming off Highway 50. And one from 456 going west.
okay,
Have to have one on each corner.
okay.
If you want a resolution for stop sign,
Do we need a resolution for that too?
We're just gonna move it. All we're doing, right? We still need it.
I don't know. I think that's an obscure question. Probably wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt to have it in place.
Probably want it just to show the authority from making the decision.
Okay.
I would suggest having somebody from the sheriff's office go with you too to ensure that they believe that functionally, where you place stop signs is affordable.
Well, it should be. This won't be the first place we've done it.
There's just gonna be a lot of traffic there.
Well, yeah.
So, and you're doing something unique too, right? You're not wanting to put stop signs.
Well, that's what I mean. This isn't the first time we put them in this kind of configuration. There's one on the county line,
Where at?
for Valier.
On 452.
Is that what the
You
county
know,
line is?
Yankee County line?
Yeah.
Yes, that's 452. Where's that one at?
That's
Where were you
right
turning?
on Gateway, to go into Gateway.
Yeah.
Off the county line.
Oh,
They stop
right.
They stop from the north and they stop from the west.
Yeah.
Going or coming
Right,
west.
right. I'm trying.
And then, well, the Bluff Road and Meckling Road is,
Yeah.
that's, I don't know what you would call that.
That's just you.
There's one stop, there's one stop sign if you go straight.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
So resolution probably would be appropriate. Just showing the authority to place those signs.
Okay. We'll do that. And then Brent, if you can work those stop sign or those speed limit signs in your schedule.
Yep, I can do that.
And then for the stop signs, do we have any more of those flashers that we can put on top of them?
I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure we do.
Because we'll have to, we'll have to make sure that people see the stop signs now.
Yep, I'll get the flashers on top and then we'll get that the red striping that goes down, the reflective, and put on there too.
Okay. And do we need stop ahead signs for the new one on 313?
That's probably a good idea. Especially if there was one in the previous.
It's probably a good idea, given the nature of what's gonna be coming through that intersection now, heavy loaded trucks, you probably want people.
And that should probably have an amber light on it.
Okay,
Not too fast. In a quarter mile,
You'd be surprised.
Well, from the Meckling Road on 313 to 456, that's a mile.
I was thinking about from the highway.
Right, they will, but I'm talking the amber light and the stop ahead sign on 313.
Oh, that way.
Proposal now, they wouldn't hit a stop sign at that corner.
Right. And the stop sign's already been on 456. Hopefully they're used to that one. I don't know, maybe we should put a stop ahead sign there too. Just one more thing to go around. So maybe we should have 2 of them, 2 new stop ahead signs.
okay,
That's if everybody's in agreement.
Yep, that all seems really good to me.
Then we'll do the resolution next week. For the stop sign.
So what was the discussion previously about so Merle was bringing in, crushed concrete for,
That's what he was talking about doing. As you're pulling out of their driveway on the 313.
okay,
And I don't know why, I mean, it's a big driveway. I don't know why they're getting that far over
yeah,
towards the shoulder of the road, but it's pushing.
towards like the south shoulder,
Yes.
yeah, okay,
It's pushing it out
okay. On our road,
on our roads.
and
He talked about having Pullman come in with crushed concrete and filling it back in. Building
on their dime?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
that was my understanding, but if it hasn't been done yet. I'll run out there after we get done here, see if Merle's out there, or give him a call, see what's been done, what hasn't.
Gotcha.
Anything else, Ben?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I would say that if that does go through, I'd be curious to know, what the approximate value is that they're investing in that. Just because I keep trying to balance those things in my mind, and I think that they know what that amount is, you know, if they put $5,000 worth of rock out there or something like that, you know, that's information that I would want to know, so.
Okay.
Travis, when you head out that way, you want to give me a call so that way I can meet you
Yeah,
out
I
there
will.
on the same page.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
No vouchers, quote for endpoint detection and response software. And that's from this Ericsson one, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
last
from this presentation at the last meeting.
$6,082.50.
I sure wouldn't want to regret having not invested in that, I think is the way I look at it. So I would make a motion to, accept the quote for inland detection response software. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? What does this come out of, Jerry? Commissioner contingency?
Yeah,
How are we sitting on that? We can touch
I
it.
haven't done any contingency transfers yet, but I'll have a resolution coming up pretty soon here.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. October 28th meeting.
I think we can take that off the agenda. My office is scheduled to go to training in Pier for the Secretary of State. And originally, we thought the dates were October 20th and 29th. As it turns out, they're the 29th and the 30th. So we will leave after the commission meeting that day.
Okay. Is that, should we make one of those meetings last till like 2 then?
We'll be there by summertime.
I'm going to a conference. I'll be here, but I also have to leave for go to a conference in Indiana. Reference to Multiversion. So, got an invite to the state paying for it, but we fly out the afternoon of the 28th. So I was gonna say if we move it back, but 28th still works for me. I leave the 4th again, so I'll have a decent meeting on the 20th and then out of here. Not at 2 o'clock.
She's the one that keeps adding stuff. Jen does.
So keep the 28th relatively short. Got it.
Anything else for Clay County Clerk?
No, I don't think so.
Building project updates, and we just heard about the courthouse and the safety center, the new law enforcement. 4 o'clock today is ribbon cutting. So 4 to 7. We don't have Dave for joint jurisdiction. Any other commissioner reports?
If anybody's interested, our CCOG CEO went and testified for Congress. So got flown out there at the request of Dusty Johnson for to discuss rural development. She's one of 3 experts they pulled in from around the country, and she did make some great work. So if anybody's interested in seeing them, reach out. I can send you a link to both the full video, which lasts for a long time. I'll have to run in the background of one because it's interesting. But I think that she has a little concise version of it.
Well, it must have been informative and not the normal circus that they put on YouTube.
Honestly, hey, actually, let me encourage you all. You might want to watch this one. It was really great. It's a bipartisan committee. They all were very respectful of each other. The people that they were questioning, they were respectful in their questions of them. It struck me as very refreshingly productive and positive. And it was, actually Dusty Johnson, so he's the chair. As they're the majority party, he has a co-chair, who's not formally even a co-chair, who's a Democrat. And Dusty said at the beginning of the meeting, he said, we work really well together. I want you all to know that, any questions that come from him, they have the same weight and the authority that they come from me. He gives you time, it's the same, be giving you time. It's really impressive. So.
That's why they're not making the short clips.
Yeah.
It's not confrontation.
That's right, yeah. Not juicy at all, no.
They're yelling at each other, getting nothing done.
Kind of stuff that should be on TikTok is what they were up to, so, yep.
Executive session? Good, hearing none.
So, the only, other business was just, we had potentially had a discussion about maybe having some things that we need to talk about, either an executive or some upcoming meetings.
Yep, we do need to have the executive session. And so that'll be under.
Legal? 3, 2, 1. Or 3.
I think it's 125, 2, 3.
It used to be subsections.
So, yeah, an executive for legal, and then, that's all.
Entertain a motion to go into executive session for legal.
So moved, grudgingly.
Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign. Motion passes.
All right, I move that we come out of executive session.
Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign. We're in regular session. What did you want to discuss then?
Just right when we were going into executive session, the question we were getting ready to, the question came up whether or not how we were going to be impacted by this new construction with Lloyd's. So in your packet, you found these documents of Lloyd Construction that Austin was over. The time frame for when construction is set to begin. Anticipated start date on the Public Safety Center is October 27th. The origin of their contract really is whatever their work is going to be. So I would anticipate sometime that week of the 27th, if not following week, there's going to be heavy amounts of demolition taking place directly above this room. The anticipated completion date of this project as a whole is March 2nd. Obviously, the finishing portions are not going to be nearly as loud as the demo. So probably it'd be a good opportunity here since we need to contemplate when we're going to make a move out of this space. We're into this month or early November for holding these meetings. I imagine there's going to be too loud to be able to hold these meetings effectively.
And
do we have the ability to move in on the 28th over?
Yeah, we do. So I mean, if we just say the 28th, we're gonna be over there.
Yeah,
conditions are appropriate here to come back.
Yeah.
And we did that before.
It's a disadvantage of going to City Hall was that the space that we ended up in did not have AV hookups, but the law enforcement center will, right? So we should be able to just tie right into Zoom and YouTube recordings as we were doing previously.
Yeah, the training room, we'll have to manipulate a little bit to make it seem, to fit the this type of meeting. Right now it's a training room, so in anticipation that everybody's sitting at those seats and looking at their screen or whatever. But I think with some minor table and chair movements, you can turn it into a temporary commission room.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's all tables, like you said. We'll have to figure out the front, how we're gonna sit. Those tables aren't. I don't even know how to move those tables because they're not just folding tables. No, they've got power to them all, I believe.
They're all movable now.
They're movable. We'll have to look at it.
So-
It's doable, which is great. I was looking at it this morning when I was out there, so.
I guess we'll all look at it when we take a tour this afternoon, right?
Yeah. So do you remember what kind of notice you gave on that?
I think I put it out on the website, Facebook. Of course, the agenda has the address at the top, so it'll be there too. I think that's all I did.
Yeah, then probably something.
Yeah, on the doors. I think we hung up signs around the courthouse too, that said, commission meetings are held at this address until further notice.
I would plan on anticipating you to be there October 28th. We can confirm that with Lloyd and bring, Larry next week. And get it signed off on that contract.
And I would expect that reworking anything having to do with planning and zoning ordinances or commission structure or appointment process may draw a bit of a crowd. So we'll want to make sure that we test the space prior to sitting down at 9 a.m. and get ready to go.
Test the space for Zoom.
Test the space for Zoom, make sure that, things work, that we're able to fit in there okay, that we've got enough capacity to, it's a pretty big room.
Figure out how to set up
There's
the
one.
tables.
Make sure we have plenty of chairs and,
There's twice as much seating as we have right now.
so that'll be good.
Anything else? Okay, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Motion passes. We're adjourned.